Good afternoon. Welcome back to Final Whistle. David Giacomino, always alongside Kevin Walsh. And March Madness is over. Finally. Not finally, but Duke is the champion. Walsh, I know have a lot of thoughts on this. What do you have to say?
What do you? Well, I'll
You know what? We'll backtrack this. We'll go back to the Final Four. We didn't have a podcast after the Final Four, so we'll go back to the Final Four. Kentucky goes down by Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Walsh, you have deep thoughts about this. What do you have to say?
It is literally all John Calipari's fault. Literally.
I hope he's listening.
The whole thing. I would pray he listens to me because someone needs to talk to that man. And Dave, this is the thing. Normally, like you and I will discuss our shows beforehand, but I haven't told you this. So when I'm
gonna let you talk.
You see, I'm rolling with sleeves. But when I say these things, I think you'll really, fully agree with me, which is something that rarely happens between us.
Yeah. All right.
So
let's hear it.
You trace back to that Elite Eight win over Notre Dame, and they interview him and they say, how do you feel about this being your toughest test, to date? And his response wasn't our toughest test.
Yep.
They give him the opportunity to backtrack. He says, "What do you want me to lie?" Now, right there, he showed a sense of overcockiness. You're supposed to give that team credit, and you're supposed to let your team know that is not a game that should be that close. You look at the two lineups, Notre Dame starts only one big man, only one guy of size. Kentucky should have just absolutely murdered them throughout the whole game. You saw what they did with Towns in the second half, and that should have been the game plan that whole game. And when Towns on the bench, Trey Lyles can do the same. And listen, I'll take a dribble drive with one of the Harrisons going, and you throw it up to Cauley Stein. They didn't do that because they think that they're untouchable, and they think that because of the man up top. You look at the Wisconsin game, and he got out-coached in every aspect. Towns went 7 for 11 again. Why does he not have the ball down the stretch? Instead, you're just watching the Harrisons do whatever they want. He's not making the right plays because he's just assuming that they're going to do what they want. He's interviewed, and he said, "This is the first time in 2 years we didn't execute down the stretch." Are you kidding me? They've been perfect for 2 years now. Why are you having close games with SEC teams if you've been perfect for 2 years? I don't care if you're talking about just down the stretch. You need to put a killer mentality in all of your team. The reason why that Anthony Davis team won is because they lost the game and they learned that they weren't untouchable. The worst part is he didn't even learn a lesson because right away when he gets the rug pulled out from underneath him, he goes and gets inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame and put back on that pedestal, and they ask him, Dave, they go, do you think that the NBA draft at all could hurt you and getting your players? His quote, and I swear this is his quote, "We are Kentucky. We will do whatever we want." John Calipari in no shape or form has the right to say that. He is not Coach K. He's not Roy Williams. Heck, he's not even Gino Auriemma. He needs to relax and learn that he is not untouchable, and neither are his kids. He didn't preach that, and that is why they lost to Wisconsin. They are still the best team in the nation. There is still no team that can beat them if they play every minute knowing that they can get beat. They didn't think they could get beat, and that's why they got beat.
Hey, I'll go ahead and say it. You couldn't have said that any more perfectly because I actually agree with you, like you said. Just exactly. The coaching was just not thoroughly as well as I thought he could have. Like you said, why didn't Towns get the ball at the end of the game? They went the final 6 minutes. They made 2 field goals. If you're watching that basketball game, you're thinking, all right, Kentucky's going to win this game. They came back. They were losing, came back. They had the lead. 6 minutes to go. All right, they're going to close this out. Give it to Towns a bunch of times like they did the game before, and they're going to win. And you had Harrison shooting 35-foot three-pointers again. It's like, oh, I'll do it again. I made the last one. Let me try it again. Like, it was just bad basketball. And I think that has something to do with the overall reflection of college basketball. You don't see execution as well. You don't see offense run thoroughly as well as the NBA, and that's why I think college basketball suffered.
I think, though, what really bothers me is just how Calipari is approaching everything. I mean, let's look at his Kentucky resume. John Wall, that team was ridiculously stacked. They fall short. The next year he comes in with, it was Brandon Knight's class. Again, highly ranked, extremely highly ranked. They fall short. The year after that, Anthony Davis comes and they win a championship. Okay? The year after that, They get bounced in the first round of the NIT tournament. Name one time that's happened to Coach K. That's not a thing, okay? Let alone to be in the NIT, but to get bounced in the first round to Robert Morris, that's a joke. The next year, they come in preseason ranked number 1. He ends up becoming an 8th seed entering the tournament, an 8th seed, because he undercoaches the team and he doesn't push them to their potential because he lets them think that they're untouchable. And they get knocked out by UConn, who had all the heart in the world, and that's why Shabazz Napier did the Kemba Walker-esque run and won that tournament. And you look at this year. Couldn't have had a better college basketball team. You may never see a more talented, deep college basketball team in your life. And they lose in the Final Four because he thinks that he's untouchable and he hasn't learned a damn thing. It's a disgrace. It's disgusting. I'm a Kentucky fan, and it's hard to cheer for a team that man right now is in charge of because I am truly, by the quote, losing respect.
Yeah, and you couldn't have put it any better again because there's no words to describe it. They should have won the basketball game, and it's a shame they didn't win. It really is. All right, we'll move across the board. Duke advanced to the championship. They won their matchup against Michigan State quite easily, and I knew that was going to happen. Michigan State had a nice run. Duke ended it very, very easily. Okafor just couldn't be matched. Like, he wasn't the main reason why they won, but he did his thing. They won by a good margin. This championship game, I was excited for it. I didn't know who was going to win. I had Duke going into the game. What were your thoughts and what happened?
I as well had Duke. I just think when you look at it, they just closed every game. I think that was the difference. It's the difference in the coach, and it was the difference in the attitude. Every single game looked like a blowout. I mean, you look at the Gonzaga game, it wasn't a blowout. They just destroyed them in the final 5 minutes. Even the Michigan State game. I mean, as a Duke fan, you can admit the game was close for the most part.
Yeah.
But then they just pulled away. That Wisconsin game was extremely close. Wisconsin seemed like they almost had it in hand. What happened? Duke just executes down the stretch.
My thing. Krzyzewski had a game plan at each point in the game. He had a game plan, and he did everything he did was for a reason, and that's the difference between him and Calipari, I think. Grayson Allen comes into the game. What an amazing stretch. One of my favorite players. I told you this 2 weeks ago. One of my favorite players on the team.
I mean,
comes in.
I've known about Grayson for a while because I follow high school recruiting very well, and he was a top 20 player. We actually won the McDonald's All-American
Slam dunk contest. Yes, I know that.
Holding down.
And he went on a run, scored 8 straight points, got the team back into the game. He kept Okafor and Winslow on the bench. They were in foul trouble, and they got back into the game without them. And I was with someone that said, why isn't he bringing Okafor back in the game? Like, your team is down 9. This is a national championship. You need to bring him back into the game already. I said no. I said they're making a run. Why split that up? Why stop everything and just bring your player back in the game and stop the run? And I thought it was a great job by him letting his team play and then bringing Okafor back into the game. Let him do his thing. 2 straight and ones, and he took it home for them.
Yeah, I just think that Duke to me was the second best team. I'm telling you, you will never hear me say that any team was better than that Kentucky team. I'm not gonna lie.
I wanted to see that game.
And I'm very upset that we didn't get to watch that. It would have been a lot of fun, I think.
I think it would have been close, but I also think Kentucky would have won. But
I thought that would have been a lot of fun.
It would have been a nice show to see. But Duke, I'm telling you, who do you think's gonna go out of that class from Duke? Do you think? I think Jones is gonna go.
Oh, Tyus is leaving. Stock's too high. Winslow's stock's way too high. Okafor is the number 1 overall pick. Quinn Cook graduates, and you're left with Grayson Allen leading, whatever freshman he pulls together.
Their freshman class isn't that big right now. I don't know how they're going to be next year.
They need to pull in at least another guy. Duke is not going to be what they were this year.
Because I looked at the top 10, top 20, and not a lot of them are considering Duke. So
no, they're not. Yeah, like I actually do really follow high school basketball players very closely, and they're not looking as prominent as normal.
As a Duke fan, I'm kind of concerned about what direction they're going to go in, but
I'll tell you, do we want to be concerned? UNC next year is going to be a large problem. They're literally returning every player.
Yeah, and Duke's not.
So it's going to be a tough year for any Duke fans.
All right, we'll go into final whistle now. Final whistle overtime now. Now, many guys are criticizing Okafor's play. They're saying he got outplayed by Kamitsky throughout the game. Do you think that his draft stock dropped from 1 to 2, or are you he's at the top?
If you don't take Jahlil Okafor first, you're silly. Unless you're the 76ers because you already drafted Embiid and Noel back-to-back years.
But,
There's no reason to have the three of them unless you can start doing trades. But, dude, Jahlil Okafor is a future Hall of Famer, and I don't hesitate when I say that. I haven't hesitated since I've seen the kid play.
yeah, and my thing is he came in, like the final minutes of the game, he bodied Kaminsky. He bodied him. He's like, all right, I'm bigger than you. Get out of my way. And that's the thing that puts him over the top. I don't think Towns has the capability to do that. He can't. He has a nice post-up game, and he'll fade away and hit the shot. He cannot just body someone and dunk it over you.
No, Towns can do whatever he wants. It's just, dude, he went 7 for 11. What is that? Too good of a shooting percentage for you?
Yeah, right.
He went 8 for 8 in the second half of your last. I don't understand. In his last 3 halves of basketball, he was 15 for 19. I apologize. Are those too good, numbers for you to get into basketball?
My thing is, the Knicks better have that first pick. They better have that.
You know what? I think the Knicks don't need the first one. They don't need the first one.
Then first, give me 1 or 2 then.
Well, yeah, because you think about it like that. Say the 76ers get one. I think that the 76ers will go with a guard. I think they have to.
They're gonna pass on both of them. You're crazy.
They have Noel and Embiid.
You trade them. I don't care.
But what if they can't?
You said
Emmanuel.
Then have the 3 of them.
No, that's ludicrous.
You cannot pass on one of these guys. You can't do it. It's like passing on Jordan. It's not.
Oh boy.
It's not passing on Jordan, but it's a type of player, a superstar potential player.
Emmanuel Mudiay will be an NBA star. And you got to start getting the guards. You got to start getting the guards.
I don't think you just cannot do it. I'm telling you now. I think Winslow should be a top 4 pick.
Top 4 pick.
Yeah. I think you should go 4 behind.
I'd take Russell over him, D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah.
More of a scorer. Winslow's more of my X factor type of player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like a lesser Kawhi Leonard, maybe I would say. I would compare him to.
All right. All right. That's all the time we have for Final Whistle. David Giacomino, Kevin Walsh. We'll see you next week.